I'm going to talk about Zoom Master Task in the next upcoming few slides in our contest training this evening. You may have seen me around District 31 virtual events as the Zoom Master, and I'm here to tell you how you yourself can be a Zoom Master with ease during the contest, if ever asked. First and foremost, I do want to mention that we do have a Zoom Master script that will be posted on district31.org. This here is a sample portion of the Zoom Master script for the speech contest. It goes through everything that you should be doing before the contest, leading up to the contest, during the contest. I think you get the idea. Zoom Master rules. Bert briefly went through these earlier. I am now going to show you how to do this. Muting and unmuting people, help people rename themselves, creating breakout rooms and assigning members to the rooms, moving people around from breakout room to the main contest room, spotlighting speakers, and also recording speakers where applicable. First and foremost, when I'm talking about muting and unmuting people, or members, audience, I do want to emphasize on the fact that we try to have the members or the audience members mute themselves first and foremost, because you then will have to unmute themselves. So muting, if they're having difficulties muting, or you have asked someone to mute themselves, but they're not answering you, you have the authority as the Zoom Master to mute the person. There are two methods to doing this. The first method is hovering over the member or audience member's video, and in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see two blue boxes. Let's focus on the mute button. It's very easy. Just hit mute. And then voila, the members are now muted, that one person that you have selected for them. You can also do this through the participant box. If you click on the participant box and then hit mute as you hover over their name, they're easily muted that way. I personally prefer the participants box because if you're muting several people at once, you can just go down the line of who you need to mute. Next, we're going to talk about unmuting. Now, you will have to unmute the person to speak if you muted them. And that is the reason why I strongly urge you to ask nicely if someone can mute themselves first. Otherwise, you're going to have to unmute them. First method, you're going to hover over that member's video box again, and you'll now see that your mute box has turned to unmute. Click on that, and then hopefully that participant will get a request to unmute themselves. Alternatively, you can click on the participants box, and that mute button has now turned to ask to unmute. And again, they should get a pop-up to unmute themselves. Renaming people. Audrey mentioned this earlier. She asked us to rename ourselves so that we can go into the appropriate breakout rooms later. Now, hopefully someone can rename themselves, but if they're having difficulties, then you can do this yourself. You're going to hover over the text box or the video box with that member's name and video. And instead of that mute button now, you're going to click on that box with the three dots. In the middle, there will be a drop down and you'll have the rename option come up. Click on rename, and then you can rename them however it is. So if they're contestant, timer, contest master, chief judge, rename themselves appropriately. In addition, if you're the Zoom Master, don't forget to rename yourself as the Zoom Master so that people can easily find you if they're having tech difficulties. The second way of renaming people, I think you guessed it, through the participants box. You have two boxes as you hover over their name. the mute button and the more button. Click on that more button and you have a host of drop downs that come down. In the middle, you'll see rename. Again, just rename them appropriately: contestant, timer, chief judge, whatever it is. Now I'm going to talk about breakout rooms. You may ask, why exactly breakout rooms and how do I do breakout rooms? Is it that complicated? It's really not. I'm here to talk to you about how to make breakout rooms and why you're going to want to do breakout rooms. So pre-contest, you'll make 2 breakout rooms, one for the contestants briefing and one for the chief judge briefing, and you'll put the appropriate members into each room. The contestant briefing, you'll want to put the contest master, all the contestants, the sergeant at arms, maybe the timer to see how the timing cards go. Chief judge briefing, you'll have the chief judge, the judges, timers, and ballot counters. And then you're going to want to close those out eventually. And then during the meeting or contest, you'll have another breakout room, 2 breakout rooms to be exact. One for the evaluation contest where you have the contestants and the sergeant of arms. The second will be the ballot counter room with the chief judge and the ballot counters. Now you ask, you talked about the breakout rooms. How do I exactly make these breakout rooms? Well, if you go into your toolbar on the bottom of your Zoom meeting, you'll see the 4 boxes with the words breakout rooms. Simple as that, click breakout rooms. And then you'll create the number of breakout rooms you want. For each section or portion of the contest, you'll be creating 2 breakout rooms exactly. Just use the up and down arrows to make the number of appropriate breakout rooms. And then you're going to want to click assign automatically. There are 2 other options to assigning members to breakout rooms, but because we're in contest mode, you're going to want to click on assign automatically. Once that happens, you can hit create and you'll see that your rooms are now created. They are appropriately named room 1, room 2. That is if you had 2 rooms. If you had 4 rooms, it would be room 1, 2, 3, 4. You get the point. In order to get a better understanding of what the rooms are, you may want to rename them because you might get confused on what exactly room 1 is. What is room 2? You don't want to put a contestant in the chief judge briefing room by accident. So by renaming them appropriately, you now know where you need to put every member into the breakout room. Moving people. Not only are you going to be moving people into the breakout room, you're going to be letting people in from the lobby. Letting people into the lobby. Let's talk about that first. You'll see that once you have people waiting in the lobby, you'll have a text on the top of your Zoom meeting. Jen has entered the waiting room. You want to click on omit. You can also omit people through the participants box if you have that open. For moving members to the breakout rooms, take a guess on how you're going to do that. First, you're going to start by clicking on that breakout room icon, and you'll see that you have unassigned members. You want to click on assign to, and you'll assign them appropriately to the correct room that you need to move them to. And that is about moving people around in a Zoom meeting. Next, we'll talk about spotlighting speakers. You'll want to spotlight speakers so the attention is on them. In case anyone comes in midway and they accidentally come in, start making some sounds. Hopefully they have that muted, but in some cases, sometimes accidents happen. You'll want to hit the 3 dots and then your drop down will happen and you'll spotlight for everyone so that the focus is only on your speaker. Once they're done, you'll want to remove the spotlight and take a guess on how you're going to do that. You're going to click on remove spotlight in the upper left-hand corner. And then last and foremost, I want to talk to you about recording speakers. You're going to want to record members that wish to be recorded. You can only record the speakers that have pre-written agreement beforehand The paperwork is on the Toastmasters International website. You can find that all there, but you're only to record those that are wish to be recorded. You'll do this by clicking the record button in your toolbar. You'll click on wherever you want to save your recording to. And then when you're done, you're going to want to hit stop recording. And that is all it is to recording members.